So, of course, it's basically like 4 in the morning, and I'm up, and I was trying to fall back asleep, but it doesn't seem like it's happening because there's one thing. I got up and I was like right now on the list of my podcast episodes, and through my 50th episode for season two, and so I should be doing my 50th episode for season two of my podcast in February. It should end on February 16th of next year, and yeah, I kind of just wrote out the dates. And yeah, I just thinking about stuff, and like one thing that I was thinking about is one of my friends, like, he brought up the fact that, why do you listen to so many like conservatives? Why don't you listen like to people on the other side and things like that? And I was really really thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, why do I listen to so many conservative voices? And there are other voices out there, but for me, like, I'm really drawn to people that share the same values, morals, and principles. So for me, like, I don't really listen to people based on just their skin color. Now, I'm more prejudiced to listen to people that are Christians or have Judeo-Christian values. So it's not necessarily conservative, because let's say that they're conservative but they're not Christian. So I don't really find myself listening to people that are conservative but they're not really Christian. Now, the only exception would be Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin, I love listening to his show and listen to the guests that he has on there. Like, he used to be liberal, but now like he's more of a conservative, and so I like listening to his ideas. I don't listen to him a lot, but I do listen to him because I like the guests that he has on. But for me, I'm drawn to people that share my same Christian foundations. So like how it says iron sharpens iron. Well, I'm like, when I listen to other Christian voices, like, I'm drawn to them because they're uplifting my spirit. Now, I don't want to listen to people that are not going to be uplifting my spirit, or are not going to help me to know more things and to go deeper. So if it's somebody that is going to be talking about race a lot, I'm not interested in hearing a lot of things about race. I'll listen to things that have to do with race to an extent, but after a while, it's very tiring. And I'm just a person, like, I don't want to be focused on race. I don't want to be focused on racism. And I just feel like it's a waste of time. Now, I'm interested in people that have something to say, that they have depth. So sometimes I like to listen to topics that have to do with Christianity and spirituality. You know what I mean? Like, getting to know God better. And then sometimes I want to hear about politics. Sometimes I don't even want to hear about politics. Sometimes I want to hear about pop culture. So, like, I have a different range. So I'm like, if I fill myself with garbage, then garbage comes out. Garbage in, garbage out. So I try to pick and choose what are the things that I read and listen to and watch carefully on a regular basis, because I do know that when I listen to foolishness and I indulge in foolishness, that's all that's gonna come out. So I know, like, for me, like, when I'm listening to music, I do listen to secular music. I don't listen to it a lot because I realize that if I do, like, I end up using profanity. I'm not a person that usually uses profanity, and that's something that I realized, I think, was it last year? No, it wasn't last year. I think it was 2018 when I was listening to a lot of Cardi B. I was like, I started cursing, using profanity, and I'm not really somebody that does that. I've never been somebody that curses. My parents don't curse either. They don't really curse. But so that was just weird. So I have to be careful about the things that I am filling myself with. So my advice is this: whenever you're listening to somebody, like, what is their foundation? You know what I mean? So, like, for me, whatever the topic is, I listen to people that have a godly foundation. Like, when I'm listening about finances, I listen to Dave Ramsey. You know what I mean? Like, he has a godly foundation. When I'm listening to anything that have to do with politics, I might listen to Candace Owens or Brandon Tatum or Charlie Kirk, or other conservatives that are faith-based, like Alan B. West. I don't even know if Larry Elder is saved or not, but he's very educated. Listen to people like Shelby Steele. Listen to people like, just, there's so much list of people I listen to. Oh, Allie Beth Stuckey. I love her. I love her podcast. Just, I listen to people that start at the foundation of faith. You know what I mean? So one thing that you should always pray about is ask God to give you the discerning of spirits, to know what is of God and what is not of God. And so that's my main thing, is like, whatever I'm listening to and whatever I'm watching, I need to make sure that it's something that would be uplifting, something that would benefit me and add value to me. And if it doesn't, then no. Like, anything that you're doing, like, also don't overindulge in anything. Like, I love watching my K-dramas, but I set a limit to how much I'm watching. Like, I don't do as much binge watching as I used to. Even if I'm watching anything about politics, I can't listen to it for the entire day. I have to go off and do something else. Go read a book, go listen to some music, go do something different. Like, don't overindulge in anything. Moderation is key. Okay, you don't want to be a slave to anything. There's a scripture that says, all things are lawful for me, but not all things helpful. All things are lawful for me, but not all things edify. And it also says that you should not be a slave to anything, no matter what it is. Now, I know for a fact the only thing that I will never ever get tired of, or I guess can overindulge in, is reading my Bible and, praying and seeking God's face. That's nothing, that's just this constant pouring in of God and the constant pouring of his Holy Spirit. That I don't really have to do in moderation. Now, any other form of spirituality and things like that, stay away from it. Some people like to go extra spiritual in things, like anything that has to do with witchcraft, anything that has to do with psychic readings, palm readings, tarot cards, angel cards. Let's see, what else can I, like, just things that you should not be involved in as a child of God. Anything that has too much of a spiritual base that's outside of Christianity, outside of what's said in the Bible, things that have to do with yoga, like stuff like this. I'm gonna go on about probably in a different video and probably on my podcast. So just make sure that in everything that you're doing, that you're doing it unto God. Whatever you're listening to, whatever you're watching, reading, whatever it is, just be careful. Don't overindulge in anything. For me, I've learned not to put support 100% behind anybody. So even though I do listen to these people, I listen to their podcasts, I watch their videos, I realize that people are flawed, everybody makes mistakes, and nobody's right 100% of the time. And I know that I'm not right 100% of the time. And when I say something that's wrong, and and I learn a little bit more, or because like God likes to rebuke me, and like who the Lord loves, he chastens, and trust me, God chastens me. Okay, so it's like if I were to say something that was like, yeah, no, Mishki shouldn't have said that, then I would say, okay, I changed my mind, or this is my new stance on this. But just be careful of the voices that you're listening to.